First story. I feel my wife has an emotional affair with her male coworker. Got questions seeking advice on the subject of male coworker boundaries. My 43M, wife 41F, she is work from home. And although she doesn't have daily physical interactions with this person, I have noticed a lot more solo conversations between the two. Don't get me wrong, I have 100% trust in my wife about how she feels about me, our family, and relationship, but I'm just at a crossing I've never been in. Yet there is always a but. Her job is mostly stressful, and although I am as supportive as I can be, I just don't feel I can emotionally compete with someone that's theoretically taking the same work stress as my wife. I recently noticed they communicate over Snapchat on their work phone, maybe 50 to 80 times a day. I'd like to say it's mostly work-laden, but since I get home from work around 4 to 5 a.m., I'm a field technician, and get woken up when I hear her giggle or sound surprised about something dude said. They also recently met up to have brunch, not them solo but as a group. In our relationship, that's an absolute no. I mean, at that point it's a date no matter how you look at it. What I found odd was that the third person was a female he dated many years ago. I understand the friendships that are developed at a workplace, but I've never been one to exchange phone numbers with a female coworker. I'm never going to hang out with you, nor am I going to go have drinks, lunch, or dinner with you by myself. See you tomorrow. I know a lot of people, be it male or female, think differently, but out of respect to my wife and their spouse or significant other, we are just coworkers at work. I recently found that they follow each other on IG. We had a nice little weekend getaway, and my wife shared some pics and reels of a couple concerts we went to, and I noticed dude liked the pics and reels she shared of either a selfie or video clip, but no likes to the posts she made of us together. Unfortunately, that sent me down a rabbit hole, and I found he pretty much went through all her posts and liked those of my kids, her family, random stuff, but did not like a single post of my wife and I together. Not even my kids' birthday posts with pics of me in them, but did like the posts of my kids solo or with just them and my wife. I've yet to meet or even talk to this dude. I have expressed my reservations to my wife, and she says she understands how she feels, but he means no harm. We just friend. That he has a girlfriend and they have a kid together, etc. Last I checked, that doesn't matter to some dudes. If they're sweet on someone, they'll try and swoon in. Why are they just boyfriend or girlfriend for over 10 years now? Why does my wife even know that? Also kind of gets under my nails. One thing I am a little down on is that I recently got a damn nice bump in pay for busting my ass off at work, which is something we have always celebrated. Be it new job, promotion, raise, etc. In for nothing this time. I barely even got a happy Father's Day this year. But hey, I was asked what do I think would be a good Father's Day gift to get a guy like him, so my wife could tell his ex to message dude's current boyfriend. Also got told that she's happy for him because he might leave this job they're working to go run a YouTube account, and she wants to plan a going away party if he gets the job. Like, damn man. How nice. I totally get the friends that from work thing. I've worked many jobs where there was many people. Just don't understand nor particularly like this angle. So am I just overthinking this? Or do I need to go have a conversation with this person? I don't want to be that guy that says cut that friend out. Realistically looking at it, he's still a stranger. They've only met once, and 9 out of 10 times a person is completely different in real life than over a computer. I really don't want my wife to be put in an uncomfortable situation. Based on his ex's physical appearance, my wife is way up his alley. I also know what emotional connections can do to people. We work in completely different industries, but I am not dense. I am able to identify when my wife is going through it, but I've never found myself in my thoughts and feelings about this. On one instance, I dropped her off on their meetup. Told her I needed confirmation that everyone was there before I left, and if I didn't hear back, I'd be walking right in with the kids. She didn't hesitate to confirm. but my antennas are definitely up. She did call me to say goodnight and all that. We had a nice weekend getaway where it was just about us and it was great. She's a great person, always helps out her coworkers and such, so I definitely see why people, both male and female, gravitate to her. I asked her in the most calm way I could, what's more important? A person who has gone through work trenches with you or the person you have gone through life trenches with? She didn't sidestep the question and did say I was more important than any of her friends, and she understands how I feel about the whole situation. She did say she did not initiate contact today, but they still did talk. So I guess it did prove one of my points in that he's the one I'm worried about here. He had to make that call. When I first brought up that I noticed they had a lot of communication throughout the day, she was a little taken back by it. I then did take offense about her saying they're meeting up for brunch on such date and time without her asking me what I thought about it. I told her, look, you just know these people from a computer and a headset. Shows like Catfish and others exist for a reason. This is not your typical work environment. Told her it's not a trust issue with you, it's a trust issue with them and the fact that they're still a complete stranger. You don't know a person until you look them in the eye. She then proceeded to say she's just wanting to meet the people who have helped her out and been in the trenches of work with her. I backed off and said go have your brunch. Then finding out they follow each other on IG did piss me off. I told her, let me show you something I find odd. She really had nothing to say about it, saying maybe he wasn't on IG yet. You responded to a story he posted, and he liked your reel of the concert we went to after the post you made of our selfie, but didn't like that one? Come on now. This was Monday morning after we came back from our weekend. She did look concerned in seeing I am not a fan of this situation. As far as I see, she doesn't have his number, and I've unfortunately gone down the rabbit hole of checking what numbers have been calling, texting her as well, what apps and stuff she has on her phone. A nice perk of Apple, I guess, since we share the account. We will see how it progresses in the next day or so. All people said this guy is making moves and she likes it. I guarantee it. I know almost cheating happened was a lot like in this exact same situation before the wife fucked this ugly ass, goblin-looking coworker for a month behind my back. He was extremely ugly and had a girlfriend and kids. I never once perceived him as a threat. I loved my wife, I trusted her 100%, treated her like an absolute queen. She was my soulmate, my one and only. We've been through everything you could imagine hand in hand. She was my world. I thought we had a rock-solid relationship together for a long time. Never in my life for a split second did I think she'd cheat on me. But here I am, doubt and still completely frustrated over it. I hate myself. I hate my life. I look forward to not work out one day. Her emotional affair absolutely destroyed the very last shred of humanity I had left inside me. I do not trust anyone anymore, and I think about what she did with him literally every fucking day. It's absolute torture. I'm literally a prisoner in my own mind because of her cheating on me. This man definitely wants to get me out of the picture. All I ever wanted to do was love my wife and treat her well. I didn't deserve what she did to me. I really truly hate life now. No amount of therapy could ever make me feel complete again. I trusted her and I trusted him to not be a scumbag. Am I wrong? Now I will literally never trust another person again for the rest of my life. I know it sounds to me that this guy really wants to move in on my wife. She seems to really enjoy his company. I tried to be the good guy in my situation and trust that my wife would never cheat on me after all of the love we shared, the memories, life. I hate saying this, but I guess I shouldn't have been so trusting of her. I've always tried to be different and give her all the freedom she could desire without being a controlling dick of a husband. I really don't think I could have done anything to stop her from fucking some other guy, no matter how good I was to her. I tried really hard for years to be a perfect husband to her because I loved her so much, and she deserved a good person to share her life with. We went through so much together for so many years. I will never fully love another person again for the rest of my life, because of her decision to have sex behind my back many times with an ugly-ass, goblin-looking fucker. I'll talk to my wife. I'm absolutely miserable and I welcome my own death more than ever each day. It's torture replaying in my mind what they did together. I'm getting nauseous right now just typing this, and it's only getting worse for me each day thinking about it. It's absolute torture. No therapy on earth can erase how horrible I feel because of it. Cheaters, you are the fucking worst people. Thanks for listening. Second story. My 30M wife, 30F, cheated and ghosted after we argued and she left our home. What can I do now? My wife and I had a big argument last month. Long story short, what initiated the argument was I found out she spoke ill of me to her friends behind my back repeatedly over the last few months. And she was not honest about it when I confronted. We had this big argument on and off for 3 weeks. Most of the time she was trying to apologize, beg for my forgiveness and promise not to do such disrespectful things again. However, whenever we talked about it, she was dishonest and would not admit anything she did or said until I confronted with evidence, and such a conversation ended pretty quickly. When she was not showing any honesty, this pattern just repeated for weeks. So we had conversations on and off, and some cold wars in between during the first 3 weeks. After these 3 weeks, I felt very frustrated and hopeless in our relationship because of her dishonest pattern, and told her our marriage wouldn't work unless she can show honesty in our communication. At that point, she felt like she had enough as well and decided to take a break and calm before we can talk again. She left our home and moved to her mom's home. We stopped talking for 3 weeks. In week 4, I reached out by calling her and sending multiple letters via text message, telling her I really love her, we should work on the problem together, and she should be honest in our communication. However, she did not respond to any of these. After a few more days, my friend, who works at a hotel, saw her went into an hotel room with a man. She cheated on me. My friend greeted her when she came out of the room with the man. She first reacted awkwardly but then was gone without talking to my friend. On the day she cheated, my friend told me about that, and I called my wife again multiple times and told her we should really talk. Again, I was ignored. I kept doing that for the next few days without getting an answer. Now it has been almost a month. My wife has been just ghosting me. I know she really loved me, but very likely not the same anymore. It's been a month but I still find it very traumatizing. When I was reflecting our marriage relationship, trying to fix the problems in our marriage, she already started to think about ended sleep with another man. I can hardly believe she could take back all her love in me. We have been together for 13 years and married for 3 years. In less than a month and be this cruel to me. What can I do? Third story. Fiancé, 36F. Had an affair with her boss but wants to stay together. I, 28M, have been with my fiancé, 36F, for 8 years, and we've been living together for almost the entire time. 2 months ago, she received a job offer that would essentially require us to move further away from my job and my brother. I asked her not to accept the job, but she thought it would be good for her career, so I eventually conceded and agreed to move with her. She informed her current job that she was leaving, and during that week, she came to me and said she wasn't sure if things would work out between us because I had been so unsupportive. She mentioned she was unhappy and that I didn't make her feel special. This news really shook me because I always envisioned a future with her. The thought of losing her over something seemingly trivial motivated me to take action. I immediately booked a fancy hotel room for us and took her out to show her how much I loved her. She agreed that we could take it day by day, so I did everything possible to make her believe in us again. I woke up early to cook breakfast, sent her sweet messages, and did everything I could think of to make her feel special. Later that week, I overheard her laughing on the phone with her boss, which gave me a weird feeling. I had always felt uncomfortable with how unprofessional she seemed with him, especially since they would hang out outside of work, in groups with coworkers. That night, while she was sleeping, I decided to check her phone, not expecting to find anything but just to be sure. However, the texts I found between her and her boss were extremely suggestive. I woke her up and confronted her. She admitted that he had confessed his feelings for her and that she might have feelings for him. She said he had kissed her once when she told him she was leaving the company, but nothing had happened since. She also told me that he had been trying to convince her to leave me. We stayed up all night talking, and I told her that I could move on if she recommitted to our relationship and cut off all contact with him. The next day was her last day at her old job, and she told me she had the conversation with him and blocked him. The next 6 weeks were incredibly difficult for me, but I eventually started to feel better. However, there were a few inconsistencies in her story that bothered me. I wanted to move forward, get engaged, and recommit, but I needed to know the whole truth. So, I reached out to her boss. He told me that they had kissed 3 times, not just once, and the last time they kissed was when she told him she was going to try to reconcile with me, on her last day of work, after I found out. He also mentioned that they had talked a little the following week, after she claimed she had blocked him and promised me she would never lie again. Now, I don't know what to do. I kicked her out of our apartment and said we couldn't live together anymore, but she keeps telling me she'll do anything to make it work between us. I told her I needed 2 weeks before we could talk again, but I don't know if I can ever get over this. Did she choose him over me? Was I the second option? What would have happened if I never found out? I don't know if I should move on or try to make it work. I still love her, and we have so much history together. We've gone on family vacations, and I had planned to propose within a few months. I'm so confused and feel alone. Are all women like this? Is there any chance of rebuilding trust? Fourth story. My 30M girlfriend, 47F, slept with a popular streamer before we dated. She continues to watch him regularly. How do I get past my insecurities? Title: I, 30M, have been seeing my girlfriend, 47F, for 4 months now. It's still early, but things have been going very well, and I've been happier with her than I've been in a long time. We've known each other for about 3 years as acquaintances through an organization I volunteer at. But we only became close in the past few months following an ugly divorce I've been going through. It didn't take long for us to start dating. Prior to us getting together, she had a few encounters with a big-name streamer. When we first started talking, she mentioned that she had a bit of a one-sided relationship with him. And I didn't think much of it until after our first date, when things started moving to our relationship being more than just friends. From the get-go, she said she wasn't interested in being monogamous, which, while a foreign concept to me, I wasn't necessarily opposed to, as we were just starting to get to know each other. Things became more serious in the following weeks, months, and I ultimately changed my mind and asked for exclusivity a month or so in. The first time I asked, she had a panic attack. She agreed a few weeks after that. Part of her hesitation for exclusivity was that she still had feelings for the other guy. Some of her family live in the same city as him, and she's seen him the last few times she's gone out to visit. When we first started dating, she told me something along the lines of, "I just don't want to hurt you if after a couple months I fly out to sleep with this guy." I took her advice and tried to convince myself it was just something casual. But as we continued to see each other, I fell for her pretty hard. She's brought up this guy a handful of times after we became serious as asides, and knows it's a bit of an insecurity of mine. She still regularly watches his streams, sometimes at my house while I'm working and if she's staying over. She says they haven't communicated much since we got together, save for a brief exchange on the guy's birthday, but I still can't help but feel off-put by it. Just this evening she was watching him, and as I walked by I said that it was still pretty weird for me. She said that just because I thought it was weird didn't mean she was going to stop watching him, which I suppose I understand. But I did ask that she at least not do it when I'm around, for which she didn't really have a response save a facial expression, and what I interpreted as a slight HMMPH. When they've communicated in the past it's been over Snapchat because this guy has had some scandals, which was a bit of a red flag to me. But I do believe her when she said that she hasn't reached out in some time. She's mentioned she's also part of a Discord community of people that seem to stalk the guy and keep up on his whereabouts, which was also strange to me from the get-go. Her reasoning is that she finds humor in it, which wasn't entirely unbelievable. She did choose to stop speaking to him of her own accord. A big piece of this is probably my insecurities from my failed marriage, where my ex-wife cheated on me, coincidentally also with a, not nearly as big, streamer. Knowing this, my girlfriend has been nothing but supportive and kind throughout our relationship, and has helped me to come back out of my shell and enjoy life again. She's told me that she loves me, and has gone out of her way to be patient and understanding with me, and given me a level of support I'm not sure that I've ever had. I love her too, and I've felt truly happy lately and want her in my life. I just can't get past her still regularly watching the guy, and continuing to mention him intermittently in conversation. I understand that we're all human and feelings don't just evaporate immediately, but I can't help but feel hurt by it. I'm not sure if I'm overreacting in my insecurities, or if I should set some boundaries. I've never tried to be controlling and she's very much her own person, and her aggressive independence drew me to her because it's something I've never been able to do myself. She's taught me a lot, but I still have a ways to go. I'm just not sure how to communicate some of this to her, and the insecure part of me wonders if I'm setting myself up for failure. Any thoughts or advice would be appreciated.